Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to focus on VALAK from the Conjuring series and most recently, The Nun. Let's get started. Alright, so we're just going to start off with a bit of a toner. This is going to help eliminate any bit of excess oils that I have in my skin. This is going to eliminate any bit of dirt or leftover makeup that may be left from washing my face. I am going to be gluing down my brows for this look, so I definitely want to make sure that I eliminate any excess oil. So in order to do that, I'm going to take 100% acetone and take it lightly into my brows. It's going to eliminate any bit of shiny stickiness that may be left in there. To glue down my brows, I'm just going to take a washable glue stick and run it through in little circle motions through my brows to make sure that I get in between any bit of those thick hairs. Now I'm just going to take a plastic palette knife and press down my hairs in the direction that they grow in. This is going to help eliminate any bit of excess texture and make sure that it's really smooth, so once we put the paint on top it won't show that we had brows to begin with. Once it's smoothed down, I'm just going to take the edge of the knife and pick up any bit of that purple wet glue that's still there. This is going to help eliminate, make sure that there's no excess glue left. And to remove any bit of even more glue, I'm going to take a little bit of that acetone onto a Q-tip and take it up onto my forehead where it may still be a little sticky. That way the paint doesn't disturb my brows once it goes on top. I'm just going to take a cosmetic sponge and dip it into a white translucent powder. I'm going to press it into my brows. I don't want to rub because you never know with glue, it may or may not be dry. So just pressing it over will help kind of eliminate any bit of that blue-black tone that comes in my hair, as well as fill in the little gaps in between each hair. Now going on with my Mehron Clown White face paint. This is exactly a face paint. It is a very opaque, a very thick face paint. And the best way to prevent any bit of streaks is going into a crosshatch motion. So if you can see, I'm going in more of like an X motion rather than just painting up and down. Painting all over my face with the brush, but I'm taking the face paint on my finger when it comes to the brow. Again, just to prevent any bit of brush strokes messing with the brow glue underneath. Once you have your face completely covered, you can go ahead and take it down the neck. Luckily you don't have to paint your entire body since she is a nun and she is showing very minimal skin. But you do want to make sure whatever skin is showing, it still looks ghostly and white. Once you are completely white, you can laugh at yourself because you look ridiculous, and then take your translucent powder and press it into the face paint wherever you put that white paint to eliminate any bit of stickiness. And this is me realizing that I messed up and forgot to put wax on my nose and my brows, but it's all good, we'll do it afterwards. So continue setting your face with the translucent powder, and then we'll go back into the scar wax. This I got for like $2 at Spirit. I'm just going to take a little on my fingers and warm it up, make it a little bit more pliable. I'm going to wipe a little bit of that face paint off of the tip of my nose and stick the wax onto the tip of my nose. I want to create a little bit more of an overhang to my nose, so I'm making it a little bit longer and a little bit pointier. And in order to smooth out those edges even more, I'm taking a tiny bit of petroleum jelly and smoothing it out with my finger. I am creating a little bit of a crack in the edge of my nose with just my fingernail. You can do this with your palette knife, or you can do this with paint later if you don't want to do wax at all. I'm also taking a little bit of wax onto a bump of my nose to make it look a little bit more crooked, and then I will be taking it up into my brow bone to give me a little bit more of an angry look. And final step would be packing on that face paint and one final layer of powder to make it look seamless. Now I'm going to take a NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the color Black Bean. This is going to be my first level of shading. I'm just going to fill in my eye sockets and a little around my mouth. I don't want to make it too big because we're going to do a ton of blending later. My eyes are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm just going to blend out the edges with just my finger. It's going to turn into a soft gray, which is perfect for adding dimension. And after working with all these creams, your fingers are going to be dirty, so go ahead and wipe them off. In the meantime, I added some contacts, and then I'm going to go into another level of shading. I'm just going to take a matte brown and really focus on adding depth into my eyes and into the contours of my face. So after my eyes, I'm going to move on to my nose, my temples, and then my cheeks. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you could completely skip the wax part and just focus on contouring. However, when you are using wax, the contours of your nose just kind of fall in line. You can tell immediately it's very, very crooked nose. One piece of shading that really ties together this look is shading on the temples with that same matte brown shade. This is going to make the skull look a lot more sunken in and a lot more dead. Whenever you're contouring the cheekbones, you want to come across the same way you would normally contour, but you want to create a little hook around the mouth. Creating that downwards angle is really going to sculpt out the face even further and make you look even creepier. Once we have all the brown down, I'm going to go in with a much smaller brush and a flat matte gray shade. I'm really going to start mapping out where I want the darkest spots of my face to be. So around my under eyes, around my nose, around my mouth, and even further in the contours of my face. And I realized that the light was really washing out a lot of the shadows, so I turned down the light, and now you can really start to see the distinction between the gray and the brown. Now I'm going in with a black eyeshadow. This is going to be the last level of shading in contours. So I'm taking the black everywhere where I took that first black pencil, so around my eye sockets, and very lightly where I put that gray shadow as well. Now I'm going to start darkening up my lips even more with that same black pencil. I'm just going to fill them in as if it was a regular lipstick, but then I'm going to take my fingers and really drag it out and make it look messy. Going back into the same black eye pencil, I'm going to take a small detail brush and start creating the cracks in VALAK's face. This is going to create a lot more dimension and a lot more shading. The cracks can be very, very, very easy. As you create these cracks, take your finger and just blend out one side. It's going to make it look a lot more 3D and make it look like you're really broken. Take a little bit more of that black paint and really darken up the corner that may have collapsed or fallen even more. This eliminates the need for going into more highlight later. And then just copy that same method throughout the entire face. Last step would be to take a little bit more of those darker shades that we used to contour with and deepen up any bit of cracks anymore. And then change into your costume. And if you're going to wear this out, I would suggest staining your teeth. You can actually buy tooth stain but I just used the same black pencil that I used on the eyes. Thank you guys so much for watching. This tutorial was so fun and easy, and I will see you guys next time.